Good afternoon, trustees. We'll come to order. We will begin the monthly meeting for the month of May of the Anderson County Library Board. It is delayed from May 14, as your agenda reads, until May 28, 2026. Commander, if you would, call the roll, please.
Yes, Shane Val.
Here.
Vicki Underwood.
Here.
Susan Maselli.
Here.
Tommy Meritor's here. Jess Ann Cole.
Here.
Tina Daniel.
Here.
Charlotte Johnson.
Here.
Terry Ryan.
Here.
Eddie Taylor.
Here.
Regional Director Jordan. Here. Kimberly Burrs from Norris.
Here.
Kelly Harris from the Rocky Top.
Here.
Mariah Webb from Clinton.
Here.
Daphne Wyndham from Bryce.
Here.
All present and accounted for. We have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. And if you will join us for the prayer by Eddie, and we'll have Charlotte lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for the day and your blessings and this opportunity. Most of all, God, we thank you for this freedom and the fact that we can assemble together as a group as we are tonight. And I ask your blessings on this gathering, and I ask you, God, to bless the minds and everything is said and done, and that everything be in order and be in your will. Lead us, guide us, and direct us in everything we do tonight to honor you. In thy name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, trustees. And as we've already pointed out, your agenda says, I'm sorry, ACTV. Your agenda says May 14. When we had our committee meetings earlier in the month, that confused the county commission clerk. She thought that was our monthly meeting for May. So she did not put it on the calendar, therefore it was not publicly noticed. I didn't know that until the day of the meeting when I was notified that people were being told at the checkpoint that we weren't having the meeting. So when we found out it hadn't been publicly noticed, we wouldn't have been able to have had the meeting anyway, so I apologize for that. Next item on the agenda is appearance of citizens. Deputy Ball, would you bring me that sign-in sheet, please? It should be laying there on the podium. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like, can we change the format just a little bit on this to where we actually give some answers back to folks? We've been letting folks do comments, and we kind of hear the same thing over and over again. And I think it would be helpful if we just answered some of the questions right now.
If you want to go ahead and answer the questions, that's fine, but my concern with doing that is if it's answers that can be given outside of the meeting, they can get their answers at that point. That saves time as far as Susan's got something to say, Terry's got something to say, I got something to say, you got something to say, you didn't agree with what I said, so Charlotte's going to jump in there and just hand, and the appearance of citizens, instead of being regulated to a reasonable amount of time, becomes an extraordinary amount of time. If it's questions that can be answered relatively quickly and not take up, and we've only got 3 that signed up, right, so it may not be an issue tonight. Okay. But in the past, where we've had 30 or 45 minutes of questions, that would wind up being a 2-hour meeting, as we found out back in January, I think it was, when we were at the Clinton Library. But absolutely, if it's something you feel you can answer and you feel confident in it, go right ahead.
Mr. Chair, if we're going to allow for responses, can we limit the time?
Well, the 3-minute mark is the limit.
Discussion and everything.
So
okay.
To that point, if we give an answer and then the person at the podium hears the answer and then has another question, that's going past the 3-limit mark. Perfect. So we need to keep an eye on that. That fair enough? Okay.
And I'd recommend we try to keep our answers to about a minute.
Sounds good. All right, first one is Elijah Bird. Please come to the podium, state your name and city you're from, please.
Good evening. My name is Elijah Bird, and I'm a resident of Norris. I'm an employee of the Anderson County Library System, but I do not speak on behalf of the library, the county government, or any of my peers. I speak for myself and as a member of the community that the board represents and serves. For the past several months, the board has heard numerous arguments against its actions regarding book reviews and restrictions from members of the community, members of the board, and members of the library system. These arguments have included moral and ethical considerations, freedom of speech, actions being taken outside the board's established scope, and violations of policy and legislation. Unfortunately, the board has not responded to these arguments in a meaningful manner, including a recommendation from County HR as early as January advising the board to address knowledge and compliance with their policies. It is disappointing that these protests have not been altered, the continued expansion of actions taken by the board, but if we're not going to consider moral, ethical, and regulatory arguments, we should consider the legal. At the end of April, the city of Huntington Beach was ordered to pay almost $1 million in legal fees after it lost a lawsuit regarding library censorship. Actions cited in the lawsuit as illegally censoring and restricting access to books include removing and reclassifying items from the children's section to make them harder to access, removing the teen classification, and allowing groups of citizens to instigate review processes outside of the established policies. If these actions sound familiar, it is because they are almost to the letter the actions that the board has voted to institute in our county. We are not under the same legal jurisdiction as Huntington Beach, but we know similar lawsuits have already been filed in Rutherford County. The fact that the board has referred specifically to this county as an example for creating some of their policies means that we can very likely expect to see the same legal action follow. If the board is not considering the protests of residents, I would hope that they consider the impact that this could have on our county. Fighting and losing a lawsuit like this would take money from the county that pays the wages of its employees. It funds projects that maintain and improve the conditions of the county. It takes money away from the projects that help the people. If and when this happens, this is a very preventable and pointless waste of county resources. In closing, I would also like to add that I know there are many residents who have views that they would like to share but are uncomfortable doing so or unable to do so. I would like to say if there is anyone who feels that their voice is not being heard, please feel free to reach out to me. I will gladly listen and do my part to make sure that you have a chance to have your voice represented. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
As of yesterday at 5 o'clock, there was no lawsuit in Rutherford County. There might have been with the school system, but not with the public library system. Inaccurate.
Next speaker is Carolyn Bagwell. Please state your name and city you reside, please.
I'm Carolyn Boswell.
Boswell, I'm
And-
sorry.
It's
sorry.
okay. My handwriting's not the best. And I'm from Norris. Norris is kind of the point from my being here. I went door to door in March, April, and part of May in Norris, trying to get out the vote, trying to get people registered, trying to build up interest in the primary. And I talked to 209 different people at 413 houses, and several times library issues came up. Most of the time, the people were very supportive of our library system, but I listened to a few people who were quoting church positions. I don't know, I didn't ask which specific church, but it made it sound as if there was quite a push to have the library issues be a part of the political battle. And I heard some things about candidates that I knew to be completely untrue because I'd been at the meetings where these were supposed to happen when I was a board member. Now that the election is over, I'm hoping that the libraries can be free to operate according to an American Library Association standards. I'm hoping that the library directors will be free to order good books for the community that meet the needs of as many of the community as possible, and that we can proceed in peace to bring the sort of wealth of knowledge and acceptance that these people here have worked so hard to bring. Thanks for listening, and if you have any questions for me, I'll probably have a couple of minutes left of my time.
I just have a response.
Go ahead.
The book issue was a big issue in at least one of the elections, and Norris did vote one way on the book issue, but the results of the election say to me that there is a big concern for the gender ideology books in the library.
That wasn't on the ballot, but
It was spoken by candidates that supported one view or the other.
it was spoken by one of the candidates for sure. But it was, the election's over now,
Yes.
so I'm hoping that we can still save the libraries. Thank you.
And the last speaker we have is Kathy Scarborough.
I think the guy with the hat just called me a bitch.
He did.
He did. And I'm asking that he be removed.
Hi, I'm Kathy
hang
Scar.
on. I'm sorry, ma'am. Just a second. Sir, did you
We
say a
both-
cuss word just a second ago directed at one of them?
Okay. I did not. You can say what you heard my voice say it.
Yes, and I'm not surprised that someone that would call a name would also lie.
Yeah,
So what would you like me to do?
leave. I didn't hear anything.
You have a great day.
The front row heard it. We heard it.
All right, Ms. Scarborough, go ahead, please.
I'm Kathy Scarborough. I live in Oak Ridge, and it's my understanding that the library board is reviewing books, and they're set aside, and people under 18 years old are not able to see these books unless they're with a parent or a guardian. Is that right? These certain books that are under review? Am I correct?
No one's allowed to see them.
Yeah.
They're behind, they're in our office.
Nobody can see them. Okay. Well, you know, I'm understanding that you want to protect children that are under 18 for reading things that are not age appropriate. And so I attend a Bible-based church in Oak Ridge. I teach Bible-based Sunday school to fifth graders. I was in my Bible study this morning at church. I read the Bible almost every single day of the year and have for a long time. And I'm just saying, what about the Bible? Today in my Bible study, we were studying 1 Kings. There's a lot going on in 1 Kings that I'm not so sure somebody under 18 should be able to read without an adult. There's the rape of Tamar by her half-brother, King David's son. That is incest and rape. There's David himself knowingly committing adultery with Bathsheba, knowingly, and then being instrumental in her husband's murder. There is Abraham. God is testing Abraham's faith and asking him to take his son on top of Mount Moriah and sacrifice him. That is infanticide. And then there is John the Baptist's head served up on a platter. That is so gory for Salome that King Herod ordered that. Those are, you know, I think about when I was reading the Bible as a young kid in elementary school, and I could read pretty good by the time I was 9 and 10, and it scared me. And so what about the Bible being on this shelf so that children, vulnerable children that don't have an adult to be with them when they read it, sitting out in
You
the
have
library?
30 seconds, ma'am.
I beg your pardon?
30 seconds.
Okay. What about that? Is this age appropriate to have the NIV, the Living Bible, the King James for children to read without adult supervision? That's my question.
Can I give a little answer?
Sure.
Over the January, February, March time frame, I have read, reviewed, and skimmed 156 books that were pulled off the shelves. We were asked by the Secretary of State to review books for content, and the librarians have done that. We have not banned any books. And I've read a good portion of the Bible, and I don't plan on banning the Bible either.
Well, I'm not talking about banning.
Ma'am,
And
that-
anyway,
your
those
3
reviews-
minutes are up. He's giving you an answer to that, which is going to last about a minute or so. There's no back and forth on that. That's what we had discussed
Okay.
previous on that.
So my reviews as an individual with the librarians has been to look and see that the librarians are taking due diligence with those things. And they're going to make the decision, because our job is to set policy. Their job is to run the libraries. And that's the way I will continue to try to make sure that we do that.
Thank you.
Not banning any books.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on with the agenda. Item number 6 is approval of the agenda. Does anybody want to add anything to the agenda? I know this went out on the 14th. We've had a lot of activity going on over the last couple of weeks. One thing I would like to add under new business A would be the law director memo. And is there anything else anybody wants to
That was
add?
my addition also.
Okay.
Yes, so new business, we'll put it under B. I don't really know what to call it. We went back and forth, me, Kimberly, me and Mariah, me and Tina, on some emails about a book that I questioned. So I wanted to, I just don't know how to word that.
So the email list, the donation email list, purchasing email list?
Yeah, I think defining a process for that would be helpful.
Okay,
Book reviews by ACLB
Yeah.
members.
okay. All right. Anything else to add to the agenda for tonight?
This may be covered under the policy committee, but remember, we have to get approval for 2 policies by the board.
Yeah, that,
So make sure that that's on there somewhere.
probably under the policy committee.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? All right. If not, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Did you get that, Commander?
Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. The agenda is approved. Next item, number 7, approval of minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from the last meeting?
I do have a couple of copies if anybody hadn't seen them of the hard copies of them.
Do we have a
Motion the minutes be approved.
have a motion for approval? Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
No.
Did you get that, Commander?
What?
Good.
Shane, can I ask a question here?
Okay.
When someone says no to it, and I know other people have done this, so I'm not pointing to one person, is there a reason? Is there,
That's why we have
What-
open for discussion, so that people have the opportunity to explain why they're going to be voting no on a motion.
okay,
If they don't take the opportunity to explain why they're voting no on the motion, then the vote's taken and we move on to the next item on the agenda.
okay.
All right, next item is the treasurer's report.
The library reserves right now, and I've sat down with Robbie and we have gone through this. Reserves right now are $209,171, and they are holding $100,962 to help cover our budget this past year. We still need $18,200 out of the budget, out of our funds. And so it looks like we're going to have approximately $90,000 left in our reserve funds. And those are the funds that the county will take next year for the upcoming budget. As I look at the budgets that we have turned in, we're going to be about $30,000 short. So start baking cupcakes, people. We're going to be, we've got to come up with $30,000 at least.
So that'll be for the 27, 28 year.
26, 27.
Okay, 26, 27.
Oh, that's covered. You're
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're exactly
Okay.
right. Yes.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Any questions about the treasury report?
Not done.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got more bad news. Go ahead.
No, we got more news. Let's see, the budget has been turned in. Robbie is doing his best with it. We, the directors and I, supposedly were supposed to meet with Brian Young yesterday about the IT transfer into them. Now, he could not make the meeting, so it was disbanded, but we would need $1,500 for each library to participate in that, and so you could add that to the 30,000 shortage. It's just, there's just no money out there.
Would there be a savings by giving the 1,500?
There would be.
Okay.
There
Do we know
would
how
be.
much that would be?
Not really.
Okay.
It depends on how much they put in their communications, you know. It would not.
Because that was the whole
Equal
reason
that.
I thought it would be benefit.
It would help a lot.
Would it? Okay.
Yeah, it
To
would.
everybody,
Sorry to speak out of turn, but.
to everybody except Clinton, right?
Well,
They
those
said-
were some of the questions that we had for Brian yesterday as to whether Clinton should be a part of that or not.
Because
So,
they basically get theirs paid for.
yeah, but their phones aren't
My
free.
phone is not paid for.
Fine.
Yeah, yeah. So if you look at my sheet that I send out every month, their communications, you see how much money that they're spending, and that's either
Okay.
phone or phone and internet.
So your online stuff is covered, but not your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same for me.
Yeah, and there are things that they have to be able to, the county has to be able to provide them with the ability to do certain things because they have requirements from the state.
So we need the meeting to happen. with
Yes,
Mr.
so
Young.
Brian is going to redo that one. Okay? I do have budget transfers, and these are the ones that I got originally from the directors. Robbie has been working with the directors also to be able to transfer money from their direct expenses into operating, which we've never been able to do when I was doing treasury before. So he's been helping because he doesn't want anything in the red at the end of the year. So these I need to have approved. Robbie, I have no idea what he's moved around. I'll know when I get my sheets next week, okay? So I have Norris, who needs to transfer $114 from their communications to their book purchases, since the Friends of the Library are going to cover her communication costs through the end of the year, through the end of this fiscal year. Do you want me to go through all of these first,
Please.
and then we'll approve?
She's making a motion to transfer these, is that what?
Yes, yes. Okay, at Briceville needs to decrease their travel $100, their periodicals $200, furniture and fixtures $165, and other equipment $300, which will total $765, and she wants to put all of that into her communications because she's short.
I just forwarded an email to you, that's not even close enough. And that's all I've got.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll get that much in there. Clinton is asking to take $4,384 from their restricted funds, $50 from their miscellaneous supplies, and $250 from their travel and entertainment, and those dollars will equal $46.84. They will be putting money into full-time librarian, part-time librarians, utilities, they're short $2,800 in utilities, postage, and communications. All the money is there. I check to make sure that their balances are in the positive when we're going to do transfers. So I do need approval to have these sent in to Robbie. So I'll need a motion.
So that's a total of about $5,200.
48, yep.
First was the motion, I'll second it.
Who first did?
Well, yours was pretty
right.
much the motion, right,
Okay.
to transfer.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, so we got a motion and a second. And how much is the total again, I'm sorry?
Well,
We got it down three.
I've got them separated,
Hey, Susan,
yeah.
this change right here where it says 975 rather than 757, is that what Robbie had suggested moving? Because I know Robbie had come back with an additional suggestion.
Oh, that 975,
Yep.
like I say, Robbie has done some things that
Okay.
I'm not aware of. Yeah.
I've got it at 5263 for the three libraries.
All right, so that's 114, 765,
765
and 4684.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, make that 55.
Okay.
5563.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried.
It'll probably be even uglier next month.
Question that pertains to the treasurer's report. I know that we're still waiting to meet with Brian because I have some very specific questions for him if we move towards putting this all on a segment. The $1,500, I've had a couple of people and organizations come to the library and suggest that organizations in the community might offset some of the cost. If that were the case, how do they go about doing that? Is that a donation to the county? Or, because when the Friends pay for the communication bills, it's just using the Friends card to pay those bills. We don't have to go through the county for it. But for this, it would have to be money in the county's pockets to pay for it.
Yeah, we would have to ask Brian how we could do it. It could be deposited straight to IT. I don't know until we talk to him. I really don't know.
Okay.
But if you have friends of the library or somebody in your community wants to donate money, have them donate it to your friends group, and the friends can always transfer it.
Okay.
Is this a one-time $1,500 per library, or is it
Yes,
yearly?
nope, according to Brian, it is a one-time, it's done, it's over with, and they pay the bills.
Yes, and he said we wouldn't have a communications line. Do you know what that would do to my soul?
I still need a communications line.
Okay.
I do too.
Well, I mean, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like it would take, like,
Sure.
Yeah, and they
It
you
sounds
might
pretty
have,
great
you
for my
might have
budget.
money to buy books again.
yes, yeah, because that would, like, we had to do an additional 2% out of our book budget, which slashed it even down more after we'd already squished it. And if I could save that communications, I could at least have some of that book money back. So, but there are specific questions that need to be answered, and I understand, but.
Yeah. So we will get with Brian.
Okay. Did we vote on that? Okay.
Yes, it's done and over.
Anything else? From the treasurer
Nope.
report?
Nope, I'm
All
fine.
right. Moving on, unfinished business, book reviews for Secretary of State.
I think there's a little confusion about what's a child. We talked about this in February. I went back and watched the television. Shane clarified earlier that under 18 is a child, and we said we would have two sections in the library. The children's and YA would come together. That would be the children's section, and there would be an adult section. Let me finish, please. So I would like to make the motion that the books that we have listed on the list that, let me word it so he can put it in the minutes. The books with gender ideology that have been identified be removed from the library.
Motion on the floor is books with the gender ideology be removed from the library.
Which actually, that was passed earlier, that they would be
it's a previous
removed.
motion.
But now we have a specific list.
I would like to make a comment on that.
Hang on, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, now go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I've gone through these and I agree with some of them, but there are books in here that might have a transgender person and it's fantasy, whatever. If you're not promoting transgender or ideology, and they're just a character, I cannot see why we would just take that book out.
Okay, I agree with you 100%, but we have a real urgency to get this done. As Matthew has pointed out, we're the last in the state to do it.
Yes.
So I've thought through, if there's a book that you would like to remain, we have a book challenge process. And so if there's a book that's removed that you would like to be put back on, it'll be just like before when someone wanted a book to be removed. We have a full policy on that.
Why don't we do it just the opposite?
All right. I think
Send them
it's
all in?
out of order to do it this way because we've got a policy on how to take books out. All these books are on the shelves. There's a book in there that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg's life
Yes.
story. Has nothing to do with gender ideology. It's got little black boys that have heroes. 111, one at the very top of the list, 111 trees, is about planting trees because children die in an area in India, and they go out and plant trees. Those have no reason. So I think that we can do what I tried to do back in November when this thing first came out, was say, we're reviewing these things, we have a process, our librarians are doing their work. There was a second video that came out from the Secretary of State where they sat down. Some of us sat and watched that, the librarians watched that thing.
I watched it.
And he said, we know that the people are doing their job. This is not something to comply with. This is a suggestion that everybody go out and look at these things. That's what he said when he sat down with the state librarian. He said, we know the librarians are doing their job. I think all we need to do as far as this review is say we're doing the review, we've got a continuing process, we've had the law director involved, not go into the specifics of the thing, and then if you want to try to take a book out, try to take the book out. But it's out of order. It's way outside of our procedures to start pulling books off the shelves.
Yes, sir.
And unconstitutional.
Folks, you've had your opportunity to speak from, no, sir, you've had your opportunity to speak from the audience. We've already passed that. I'll get to you, Terry, hang on. Go
Let me
ahead.
make it clear, the list was not developed by me. The list was by community members, board members, people that called, and so there you go. So there really may be some books on there that absolutely shouldn't be on that list, but there's a process to challenge that.
No, there's a process to challenge the books.
Terry, go ahead.
Okay, I have a few things, so this might be disjointed since I can only speak twice on the topic.
You can speak more than twice.
First of all, the policy is to challenge books that are on the shelf. The policy is not to challenge books that have been removed. So we can't use we have to do it first. So if you're going to put all these off, they're off. There is no way to challenge them to get them back on according to the policy. Once they've been voted off, they're off. So you can't use that. The other thing is this list here was also compiled using like AI programs to pull books that dealt with gender, not the so-called.
No.
I didn't use AI.
No.
That was through the filters, so I misunderstood that part. But also the Trey Hargett's request was for us to review the books and move them to age-appropriate places. It was not to remove them from the library. It was to check the children's for age appropriateness and make sure that they're categorized where they belong. It was not about removing them from the libraries. If you read the actual statement, it was review them for age appropriateness and make sure you've got the books where they belong, not removing them from the libraries.
Susan?
Yes, in fact, that whole thing from the state said your directors should be reviewing them, your directors should be making the list, your directors did not say anything about the board making a decision on any of these books. The board is to advise, and perhaps and we've made out this list, if we send it in, and if there is a person in the public or a person on the board that wants to challenge, then they can go in and challenge it. But there's nothing wrong with these books. None of them have been challenged before. None of them are promoting the ideology. They're not grooming people. They're actually, I believe, authors are getting smart in attracting the youth into some of their books by putting different characters in there. So I think if we send it in as is and people want to challenge it afterwards, that's fine.
There have been so many different lists that were going around. I was really confused. Where did this list come from? Are these books in the library? Are they not? What are we doing? I asked the librarians, and that's what this pack is, or the directors, to compile a consolidated list of every book that has been pulled in our system. So if we would stick to one list, and that's the ones that have been taken, and for us to review or to make decisions about and put a hold on the process at this point, it's going to be more manageable. If we keep getting more and more stuff coming in, we're never going to get finished. Several of these books are in the same library. There's like 27 of them that's in more than one library. I would suggest what Tommy is doing, let's get a subgroup together, start with the 27 that are in multiple libraries, sit down, take a look at those books. We don't have to read every word of them at this point, but look at them. What is the reason they're here for? Civil rights movement is not a reason to do anything with the book. The trees, why are we doing anything with those books? A lot of this could be handled if we would quit squabbling and just sit down and look at them as a group and make some decisions based on that. Now that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I want to say is I have a real serious problem with us removing or books because they have gay characters in them. We're going to get, I know you say there's no lawsuits going on in Tennessee, but there's lawsuits all over the place where other states have tried to do the same thing. I don't want us to have another lawsuit, and I think we need to be very careful. It is not against the law to be gay in the state of Tennessee. It is not against the law to be married in the state of Tennessee to a partner of the same sex. So I think we could take those books, and maybe they don't need to be in the 5-year-old section. Maybe they need to be in the young adult section. Maybe they need to move, some of them need to move from the children's into the adults. I think we could do that if we would sit down and process it by looking at the books. This getting a list here and there and somebody saying, oh, I don't like that book, it's got to go. I don't understand why it's going, and that's been the confusion of having books that are saying, don't put that on the shelf. I don't know why, unless I sit down and look at the book and process it. So anyway, that's my whole concern with this process. I think this is good stuff that they've given us. It's a synopsis, it's where the books are, it's organized, and I would recommend that we get a little group together, and I think if we could, even if we could split the thing up and three of the trustees and a director take part of the group, 3 trustees and a director take the other part, and et cetera, and just get it done.
The only problem I see with that is the Tennessee Open Meeting Act does not allow us to sit down like that outside of the public and
We
go
can do it
over
publicly.
books like that. We would have to bring the books here.
We could do it
On
publicly.
my count, there's 105 different books. I've gone through all those books and either read them or skimmed them. I mean, I didn't read the whole one about Ruth Bader Ginsburg because I've met Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And
Tommy, should any of them that you read be taken off?
that's not my decision, actually.
Really, it isn't.
It's the
theirs.
librarian's decision. I looked at the books so I would know what they were doing. There was one book that I hated the language. The F word was used every paragraph, every page, it was just trash. I don't like that book, but I'm not going to recommend that it be removed because that word is in the language. I don't like anything in our library that's got anything to do with Hitler. But it's my likes are not what's at issue here. Tina's likes about a book is irrelevant. It's not has anything to do. There's a state law that says you can't have pornography.
Yes.
There are 2 classifications of people in the state of Tennessee, according to for the libraries. They're adults and children. We never, I think Jess Ann mischaracterized what we said whenever and it's in our notes. We said we were going to have policies that recognized the 2 things. We didn't say what physical location was going to be just 2 sections. We never came to that. And when we talked about that, there was a lot of confusion about how we were going to do this. We're not going to throw all those things in one place. But the 105 separate titles, then I think when I get to the end of this.
I got a list of 157.
Yeah, but some of them are duplicates because they put the 2 lists together.
Yeah, when you put them together.
I looked at 156 different books, but I looked at, individually, I didn't go with anybody else, didn't violate anything, and I only talked to the librarians when I went to look at them. And all of those books, somebody liked them, somebody wanted to buy them, and that's the library director's responsibility to do that. We have been given the courtesy by the library directors to have a list of what they're ordering. And we get to make an input on the front end of that. It has to be more substantial in my mind, and I didn't like that book. That's just not where we're at in the world.
Well, if
For
I
a
may,
public library.
if I may, and this is just my take, all these books that I reviewed, and I sat down and laboriously went through each one of them. And of course, I didn't read all these books, but I went to Amazon and different places that you could reference books and check out kind of just a little snippet of what each book is about and what it says. And in all honesty, I found 44 books out of this list that I would question whether or not they shouldn't. I found nothing really wrong with it.
I think I found probably about 45 books that
I thought
might not have ideology recruiting, but at least did mention stuff.
Well, and here's the thing, and I want to make this clear to everyone. I'm not anti-anything, okay? But I have strong beliefs in things. And I believe people need an opportunity to make decisions about things. Now, is there some of these that I find very questionable? Yes, absolutely. But once again, for me to sit here and just literally say we're going to do whatever with every one of these books, I just can't with a clear. I just can't do it. I personally cannot do it. And I have wrestled with this for over a month now, I guess. How long we had this list?
Since January, was that when it came out?
So.
And
I have something to say. So everyone keeps talking about this young adult. Is what age are you considering young adult? If they're children, and if they're 18, then they can't go in the young adult. We only have the adult and the young adult and the children. So what age do you think the young adult is?
13 to 17. 13 to 17 is
Okay,
considered
they're
young
still
adult.
children, so those cannot go in the young adults.
I actually made our entire young adult section an adult section back in January.
Right. We've done
Okay,
that.
so the other question is,
Yeah, yes, I did. And
I
I've
want
said
to
it
know you did. That's the
repeatedly.
problem. That's the problem. Yeah, children is under 18. So young
Young adult,
adult
yep.
is children.
Young adult has a variety of definitions. I'm more likely to check a young adult book out to an 18-year-old rather than an 8-year-old. So, that's why the young adult books became an adult section.
so my other thing about all this is, there's no way to monitor children getting into the adult section at most of the libraries, so there's that. If they can get that book off the adult section, they're still having the same problem. Because y'all are not gonna be able to watch everybody and see where they go.
That's their parents'
That's, yeah.
Okay, what
What if they're in there
What if
without their
there's
parents?
no-
Allowed in the library under a certain age by themselves. So if you have a small child in the library,
The middle
you are
schoolers.
absolutely required for
The
that
middle
parent to
schoolers.
be there. And then it is up to that parent to make that determination.
Right, but if,
Like, we are not putting anything terrible in these sections, right? But the titles that I have in young adult, right, that we're switching everything to adult so that if their card is limited, they're not able to check it out. But the things that I have in young adult are absolutely appropriate for 13 to 17-year-olds. But if I put those in adult, they will be beside things that are not appropriate for a 13 to 17-year-old. So in my opinion, trying to shove this all together is actually hurting the children. We are going through this so that you are reassured and everyone is reassured that there is nothing graphic sexually, nothing graphic violently. Those things are no longer in young adult. They have been moved to adult by policy. But trying to eradicate the entire section that has been in libraries for as long as everyone has a young adult section, because there is a difference between a 10-year-old and a 17-year-old. There just is. And I didn't want my 10-year-old at the time. I don't want anybody's 10-year-old seeing some of these things, okay? But adults have the right to have them, and they have the right to have them in the library. And trying to pretend that an 8-year-old is the same as a 17-year-old is crazy. And that's when you end up having stuff put beside 50 Shades of Grey that a 13-year-old is going to be looking for. Okay?
And once again, my understanding, I do not have a copy of the letter that Trey Hargett sent, but it was to evaluate it for age appropriateness, review it,
Yes.
and put it in the right section.
Yes.
So our list does not, we don't need to be going through to ban them whether the library's here or not. We can have this list moved to the adult section and then review the ones and put them back in the young adults where they belong.
but
To
you're
do
still,
it that way as opposed to removing them from the entire library. He
You're talking
wants
about
the list.
This last list
Yes.
right here that we got.
but you're still considering young adults, which they say is 13 to 18. They are still under 18, so those books should not be where they can get hold of them, because they are still children.
Yes, the books on the list.
Yes.
Yes, they should be moved to the adult section, and then they can be challenged to review to move back, but he only needs the list that we reviewed it and says, these are the books that were questionable. He doesn't need that we took them out of the library, we've done any of that. We're delaying our list to Trey Hargett because we're trying to remove them. He only needs the list of what we looked at and thought maybe age appropriateness, maybe they needed to go to the adult section. So we have a list, and then we can go back through this list and say this one doesn't really apply, put it back in the young adults or children's or wherever it belongs. But he only needs the list. He doesn't need the books to be thrown in the trash or removed from the library. He needs them moved to the correct section.
Mr. Chair, I just want to say I have the Hargett letter in front of me, and it does not say for the librarians to review the books. It says,
Yes.
I have it right here. Well, that's the letter from the, do you have it? Do you want to read it? It said, let's see. Well, it just, in mine, what I have, it just asked for an age appropriateness review.
Yep. And it's asking, allow the staff to conduct the focus review, ask the staff if they believe it needs to be moved, ask staff if they're unsure about it, then it should be brought to the board's attention.
Is that the October 27th letter?
This is the October, this is the questions, frequently asked questions from Secretary of State Hager.
The October 27th letter says the Board of Directors should be provided a report of the review from the library director. The Board of Directors should also internally initiate the reconsideration of materials for any item that is believed to be in violation of the state or federal law, which they're talking about the gender ideology.
And it says item, it does not say list.
Matthew,
Are
do
you
you have,
suggesting it's,
Individual items be looked at, not a list.
Matthew, do you have something?
The intention was for the library directors, and that's what's listed in this frequently asked questions document that I submitted. But it wasn't intended for the board to start going through all of the books and collecting things from the public. So you have an entire policy and process for all of this. It was, let's take a look at our sections and make sure we're comfortable where things are supposed to be age appropriate. And the frequently asked questions document, it also says that it's talking about where things should be located in the library, not about removing books altogether. If you're trying to remove a book, you've got a policy for that in place. So I'd be careful about removing books if you're going against policy.
Mr. Chair, the reason the motion was made, I've been on the board 4 years, is when we started all this process, we would say to librarians, could you put them in a specific cabinet? We don't have room. Could you put them somewhere that they could be monitored? We don't have room. We don't have staff that can monitor the books. So what option do we have?
Go ahead.
I think, again, the question comes in is what is compliant with the state Protection of Children Act? What is compliant with the federal terminology of transgender, which is a federal, not a state? And what we've gotten is a hodgepodge of things. There are books in here that I can see just right away from reading the brief description need to come off this list and be put back in circulation. The one on civil rights movements, the one about the trees, you know, there's several of them. And I don't understand why it's become so complicated, I guess, is I just keep thinking, well, why is this getting kind of crazy? It mentions gender in the description because that's how he told them in the sessions that we heard, that's how he told them to sort them. Sort them by gender and then take a look at them. And that's what Tommy tried to do, and in Briceville and in Clinton, and with the directors to help them out, and then it became, no, we've got to get this one and that one and everything. And maybe they do need to come out, but I think until we get a clear definition about what it is what it is we can't stand, I don't see any of these books at this point that are endangering children as the state law is specifying. There may be some, if I read more closely, some of them, but so I'm just struggling with what we're trying to do here in terms of a legal perspective. And I'm very concerned. I mean, there may be some, but I'm very concerned that we are doing something that is discriminatory by nature, by just removing a bunch of books.
And Vicki, it should be pointed out that the law does not apply to public libraries.
No, it doesn't. It's school
The
libraries.
age-appropriate law applies to school libraries.
Yes. Absolutely. And
All
we're
of this is out of
confusing
order
that.
in my mind.
It's been confusing.
Any further discussion? So
Yeah.
I'll take a turn at it. First of all, I'd like to remind the board, we already voted to remove them back in February.
Yes.
That's already on the books.
No,
We did.
we voted to pull them off the shelves, and the librarians.
No, we did not.
Not to remove the books from the library.
I watched it on the TV video. Now, your minutes may be inaccurate. That could definitely
That's
happen.
possible. That's why I give them to everybody to give a chance to change them.
No, actually, I think
Not by me.
the February minutes even said to remove. I believe that was in your minutes, if you want to go back and check it while I'm talking. As far as lawsuit worries, I understand the concerns of lawsuits against the county. Being a county employee and a county commissioner, that should always be one of the forefronts of my mind. However, lawsuits can come from either side of an issue, whether it's we removed the books or we didn't remove the books. So lawsuits can come from either direction on that. Some points that I would like to make that have really not a whole lot to do with the sexual ideology of the books. Some of the reports, and I'm not picking on Kelly, but hers is the first one that I got in front of me, a book that was purchased in 2023 that has never been checked out. A book that was purchased in 25, February 25, that hasn't been checked out. My question then becomes, I think we have a policy, which I know from what I read from the crew policy, I think, that's like 20 minutes of book, at least, if you're looking to see, do I need to remove this book? So I'm not mad because a book's been sitting on the shelf for a year or two and not been checked out, but I'm saying that alone, from my understanding, would be a reason to remove the book. Nobody wants to check it out. So that does apply to some of these, I'm sure not all of them, but a few of them. Another concern that I have is, apparently since we've been debating this issue now going back to November, because we didn't get the letter as soon as it was received, there continues to be books purchased that apparently, I don't know if they're put on the list, but somehow or another they're winding up on our shelves that would fit into this category. So then my concern becomes, is this going to wind up being a revolving door where we make a decision, but yet books are still being purchased that are going to have to go through some kind of process in the future because they're just going to keep coming in? And it kind of makes me wonder why that would be, but I have a suspicious mind anyway, and that's not an Elvis reference. I would remind folks that we are talking about two issues when it comes to the books that we were talking about 3.5 years ago. I think we get confused sometimes and we like to lump this together. this issue we're discussing tonight with the list of the books are the ones that our librarians looked up that had to do with sexual ideology. That's what it was about. Trey Hargett's letter had nothing to do with the issue from 3.5 years ago. This is a separate issue. Now, the question becomes, well, the letter said just make sure they're in the right section of your library. Okay, that is what the letter said. However, I don't think that there is a problem with going above and beyond what's required of us. Now, to Matthew's point, we turned in our letter to the Secretary of State's office saying we're now in compliance. We've now went above and beyond. We've not just put them in the right section, we've removed them from the library. What's going to be Regional's stance on that?
The request was for a report.
Mm-hmm.
And to review the collection and to give a report on what your review was. And that's it. And I can't say what.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but the point that I was trying to get to was we were told if you don't address the issues in the letter, you could possibly lose funding, right?
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Yes.
So I don't see how going above and beyond that requirement would hurt us as far as the state goes.
Amen.
As far as whether or not we like the books or not, I agree with the commander's stance on that. It ain't about whether we like the books. It's about being in compliance, or even more so with what our directive was. We can disagree with the law that was quoted in Trey Hargett's letter. We can say that that's not right and we disagree with it and it don't apply to whatever, but the bottom line is we got a letter from the Secretary of State's office saying we want you to make sure that you don't have these in the wrong section. So I'd like to remind everybody on that. So I know I just said a bunch and that's probably going to spark some more people to want to say a few more things. So any further discussion?
You are correct. It does say to remove all books
A motion was
making
made.
reference
I've got it.
to gender identity or ideology. That's a whole lot different than trying to remove anything that says gay. I mean, this is an effort to take the advocacy and remove advocacy from it. But historical books talk about somebody being gay or not. You're going to take out all the books that have any reference to the people who were gay? Goodness gracious.
Any further discussion? All right.
I do have one other point. When they did what was suggested, there were books in here, the very front page, there are 2 books right here. Civil Rights Movement. These have, you voted to remove all of those too? I mean,
That's
if
what the
you,
motion is.
but that's, you know,
It's not to permanently remove. There should be a way for that to be challenged.
but
There
if it's
really should.
removed,
I
it
didn't.
can't be challenged and put back in. That's what she was
The
saying.
Well, I'm not going to burn them. You know, I mean, I'm sure they'll be stored
Well, why
somewhere.
can't we go the other way?
I think you should go the other way.
Well, our policy is to go the other way, is to
Yes.
individually look at the books. We've got a list. If you want to do that, challenge the books that you think have but a book that has a name. I mean, the discussion was going on about whether Chris was a boy or a girl. That's foolish.
I mean, Chris could be a boy or a girl, and Alex can be a girl or boy, so.
And right, both of them could have been boys or girls.
Right, so there's the gender ideology.
No,
It's showing that 2 boys or 2 girls.
That's a name. Chris Mitchell is a good friend of mine, and he's the mayor of Norris.
I'm not saying the names, I'm just saying in the book, it does not say which sex they are.
And unless
8-year-olds don't
are
care.
saying that,
But that's not the point. The letter said that we should take those out.
No, it did not.
Or at least remove it from the shelf.
No, it
No.
didn't.
It said put it in the right place.
Put them in the appropriate
Just saying.
I don't care to yield to Vicki. I think she was speaking.
What I was trying to say, unless you are saying that two people who are gay are sexually aberrant and putting children at risk because they're characters in a book, that's immaterial. They don't belong on this list. They don't belong on this list. It's not illegal to be gay. It's not. Now, if you were taking a child and you were trying to sodomize them or you're trying to have sex with a child, then that's illegal. I don't care if they're male, male, female, 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 male. That would be illegal and it would be horrible. I think we've confused this whole thing to bring in stuff that don't belong, and because of it, we just keep going around and around and around. And we've got to, I understand the ideology of individuals, but we don't represent ourselves in this trustee board meeting. We represent the county. And there are people in the county who are gay. There are people in the county who aren't Christian. There are people in the county who don't care of what other people do. We need to have representation of all of those, not just our church, our beliefs. There are some of these books, I'm with Tommy. There's some of these books I wouldn't want anybody to read, not even an adult, because I don't like the language. I thought they were smarmy. I didn't like them. But that's not a reason to take a book out. And I think we've got to revisit what they're asking of us. Being gay does not hurt children. And having gay ideology is not sexual identity.
Just real quick, I'm offended, not by something you said, but when it's implied that it has to do with my personal belief system. No one knows that. I haven't shared that. But this, to me, is about law. And I'll tell you how this started. When I got this letter, I thought it was extremely confusing. And so I tried for days to get a hold of Secretary Hargett. Never got a call back. Then I tried for days to get, and I can never remember his name, but the guy who's over libraries for the state of Tennessee. Didn't get him back, but after numerous calls, he had Matthew call me. And basically, Matthew and I agreed on the phone, it happened, Matthew, that it was confusing. That was really pretty much when we came down to. I was seeking something concrete, go in and look for books that, like you said, were abusive to children or something. We never could get that. So then the only thing I knew to do is really study on what gender ideology was, and that's what I came away for my personal study. So that's where I'm at. I wish we had more guidance. Frankly, I wish I'd gotten the letter. I didn't get the letter till it had been out a few months. But
you guys keep saying that about the letter.
It's true.
I literally received it in the mail the week we handed it to you. Like this same week. The same week, I put it in my director's report that I submitted that Tuesday, and I handed you the letter on Thursday. We didn't have it. This is not some conspiracy. Like, that's when we got the letter. You can check the postage dates.
No.
We handed it straight to you.
It's incredibly insulting that people
It
keep
is.
suggesting that.
The meeting,
It is.
the meeting.
I'm not
the meeting was in November. That's when
I'm just
I
saying,
got the
literally,
letter.
the letter.
The letters were dated in September and October.
No,
I'm
no,
not
sir.
blaming anybody.
But no, sir, I promise you.
Kelly, honey, listen to me.
Yes, sir.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming a one of you all for withholding a letter trying to get a gotcha.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying.
It feels like you guys are saying
I'm
you're pulling
saying-
back the letter.
I'm
And we're
saying-
like, I promise.
I'm saying there was a 2-month delay between, when I'm right, honey, some of the letters were dated September.
No, that letter was just, that was just sent to
I
us.
understand
The-
that,
the
but that
August
is
letter-
still a letter that should have been sent on to the board.
No, the letters were
Okay.
just to the.
All right, well, anyway, I think that's Jessica's point to that. I'm sorry we got off track with that.
Okay, I have something I'd like to a
Okay,
question
go
for
ahead.
Vicki.
Yeah.
So, you know, you keep bringing up gay and lesbian and all the things, and I don't have anything against gays and lesbians. People, how you live your life, then live your life. That's none of my concern. I have friends who are gay, and that's okay. This has nothing to do with this for me, okay, at all. This has nothing to do with anybody being gay or lesbian. You know, but you take a book, because I've got grandbabies, okay, little guys, and you take a book like Gender Queer and Queer Duck. Queer Duck at the Clinton Library in the children's section that was wrote for children has no business in the adult section. These books were wrote for children. It says it. I've read it. I have looked it up, and they have no business in the adult section. Now, I can take off 111 trees, or I can take off this and the civil rights.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm fine with that. I am perfectly fine with doing that. But these garbage, pornography that gets in the hands of children, no way. I will not. Absolutely not.
Can I say
So,
one quick
hang on. So, the motion that's on the floor is to remove them all that are on the list. So are we wanting to amend that motion?
We could amend that.
Okay.
How would we do that?
Well,
How would we word that?
If we're going to go through, we can spend probably the next year and a half or 2 years going over every one of them on the list and taking them one by one, which I'm fine with that. Matthew can go ahead and notify regional that's going to be even longer. Not only are we the last one in the state to get this done, that it'll be a little while longer. If that's the pleasure of the board, then I'm fine with doing that. However, I would remind everybody it is going to take a while to do it, and it does not need to be a committee of just 2 or 3. It needs to be every one of us, because every one of us, or as Vicki said, are representing the people of this county, and ain't none of you's getting out of it. All of us will be responsible for making the decision. So if the lawsuit does come, it's going to be all of us anyway. So that way all of us will have a say in it. So that'd be my recommendation. So do you want to amend the motion?
I'll amend the motion.
All right, so you want to amend the motion to what? That we'll take each book individually? Okay.
Yeah.
Question, so where are the books?
Hang on. Amendment on the table is to amend the motion that it will take each book individually. Do we have a second on that amendment?
I'll second it.
We have a second on the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment?
Could we send the list, turn the list in that we have removed them while they're under review? Like,
Are all of these books off the shelf?
Yes.
So where are these books at your library?
My office.
In my office. They're in my office.
About how many do you got?
I don't know. I don't know the exact number.
Over 20, over 30, over 40?
It's a full cart.
There were 54 at Clinton, I think, with the final list. Okay. There's a few of them I haven't seen. There were 28, there were 11 and then in Bryceville, and there were 24 or so in Rocky
But I
Top.
had like 14, I think.
Yeah.
11, right in there. It's on a stack that big.
Now, Daphne, we put all yours back on the shelf. I assume you've pulled them back again.
Since all this, I put them in the office.
So the books will remain off the shelf until we make an individual decision on each one of them.
Yes, and can
I'm sorry, yes.
That's okay.
I'm sorry,
I just want to
yes.
say one thing. Genderqueer has been behind the desk since 2023.
Yeah.
So people that are talking about genderqueer, or let's talk about it like those, and for the record, genderqueer was always in the adult section, it was never in the kid section. But, and that should be noted also, like that was never available for kids. It was always an adult nonfiction title. But that title, and let's talk about it, both have been behind the front desk at the libraries that have them since 2023.
Okay.
So when people talk about genderqueer and other people have referenced it, like the things that are in those books, and I'm like, those books haven't been available since 2023, like
Okay.
since the first one.
right.
And I just want that noted because
And we've all-
using that one as an example is not a good one.
We've also, since 2023, had policies that any parent that wants to restrict a book or a whole class of books can do that on the library card of the child, and they can't take them out.
To that point, Commander,
That policy's been there.
that's been since 2023 when this
Right.
whole brouhaha first started up.
Right.
That's different than Trey Hargett's letter on sexual
Exactly.
ideology. That's my stance anyway. So when you keep referencing that original policy from 3 years ago, I get what you're saying, but this is something new that brought us to this point. I'm sorry, Terry, did you get your question answered? I think we went around the mulberry bush.
Right, can we send the list in and say, this is
You're
what
wanting
we
to know if we can
reviewed
go-
and pulled, so we can get that checked off the list that,
Or at least compliant, that the books are not in circulation,
So-
will continue in those.
so-
we can send the list to him.
So the notification would be, we're still.
Here's the list.
We found the books you're asking about. And it, hope that satisfies the letter. And we'll discuss what we're gonna do on our own level here.
Yes,
Right.
That they're out of circulation.
Okay.
We have done what you've asked, we've identified them,
I got you.
and that should be our motion. We're gonna submit that list, and then what we do with that list after we turn this in is between us.
Let me ask y'all this. So far, what books that you have found on this list that you've looked at, and I know Vicky's probably looked at it 2 or 3 times. Sounds like Eddie's looked at it a few times. How many of them have you seen so far that you would say need to be removed from the library?
zero.
Zero.
Move to a different section.
So
But
let me
that's a
ask,
superficial look, I would say 0. Now, if we're gonna get into it a little bit more, I may look at them and say, you know, this really needs the dust cover and to go behind the desk or something, because it'd be a great
So-
resource for parents, but not necessarily for a child to look at.
but then I'll leave you with this, and then I'm done because I think we need to move on. If that's the case, then what's the point in even putting this off tonight? If there's not ever going to be a book that anybody else would consider removing from the shelf?
Because there are books on here that should not be removed.
But you just got through saying you wouldn't think that any of them need to be
Oh,
removed.
okay, I didn't understand what you were saying. Say it again, please, because I didn't understand it.
If you all are saying that there's no books that you would agree ever need to be removed from the library, period, bottom line, in the story, then why even put off the vote for tonight? What's it going to accomplish if we're just gonna take them individually, one by one, and you're still not gonna come across with any
Well-
that you feel need to be removed?
I
Because
think
I
I
didn't know
modified
we-
that because I don't, I may change my mind in the discussion.
Okay, and I'll accept that. Are you?
Yeah,
Would-
I'm
would you-
saying
would
right
you think
now,
that there may be
no, on
something
the
you
little
would
bit I
change your
know,
mind?
but I may change my mind.
Yes, but
Okay.
this is the point of his thing was to review them.
I get it, I
It's
get you
not-
that, you're
it's a
absolutely right.
separate
I'm
thing.
just asking the question.
Thank you for clarifying.
There would be occasions
Conversation
when you
about
might change your mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
there could be
All
conversation.
right, because at first y'all said no. I just want to make sure we're not wasting time by going ahead and doing it tonight. It's not going to matter to you
I
guys.
thought you meant right now and
No,
without any
I'm talking about
discussion.
as we take each one
Yes.
of them individually.
Right.
No.
And
That's different.
Mariah,
Thought you meant the list.
and Mariah says she's got some more books for me to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, the list apparently keeps growing, which kind of goes back to my original point of, seems like it's going to wind up being an ongoing process from now on. Go ahead, Matthew, I'm sorry.
There could be a difference, there's a difference, a big difference between removing a book and moving it to a different.
I agree,
So
absolutely.
Yes.
They said right now 0 about removing the book completely, but
Mhm.
that doesn't necessarily mean they don't think something might be moved to a different.
I understand that, Matthew. My
It's more
question
appropriate
was to
places.
pin them down on saying, give me an occasion where you all would agree with moving the book. They gave me the answer I expected, which was none. My point being, well, if that's the case and the motion on the floor is to remove them, why don't we just go ahead and vote on it tonight? It's not gonna matter to them anyway. They have since clarified and said, well, no, there may be a few occasions where we might consider it. And I'll take that. I'll take them at their word with their answer. But that was the point I was trying to get. Why put it off from tonight if it's not gonna make a difference? I understand removing them versus putting it in the adult section. I get that. That wasn't my question. So everybody knows what we're voting on. The amendment that we'll take each book individually. Any further discussion on the amendment?
Well, then we're just not going to turn anything into the state at this time.
Yeah, I think Terry's point was, let's go ahead and turn the list in to let them know we've done.
That's what I thought her.
But now,
Thank
if
you.
Mariah says there's still some that she's finding,
No, there are board members who came to visit my library and added to the original list that Tommy looked at.
okay,
Yeah.
But they're
All right.
on this list.
They're on that list, yes, they're on.
okay.
They're on
All right.
this list.
So this list is ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if we could not add any more until we get through it, and then we can get a process to
Well,
make it
Now we're
easier.
going back around the table again.
No,
Because
no, I'm just
if
saying,
we're
No,
finding more even after the list is done,
I
That
can,
comes in this section down
they
here.
go back out on the shelf until somebody
No.
realizes it?
no, I'm just saying, can we get this done first before
And this,
we
then we talk
tackle the
about
others?
So how do we know, and you've got my wheels turning now.
Yeah.
How do we know that if any more books dealing with sexual ideology are found or located, that they're pulled from the shelf just like these are, until they go through the process and ain't gonna be left in circulation?
Right, it's the list that they're sending us when somebody
Before they buy
challenges.
it.
Yeah,
That's the challenge.
So, everybody on the same page with that?
We send you guys all our lists before we order.
And we should realize, we've got some board members that are up for coming back to the board, that may not come back to the board. There may be some opposition to those people that's raised.
Yeah, you never can tell.
You never can tell.
That's right.
Any further discussion? Everybody knows what we're voting on.
I think we're voting on, each book will be on the current list of 95 books by my
It's more than
count.
95.
How much?
It's more than 95. I want to say it's like 102 or 105. I can look.
Whatever some of us.
yeah, on this list,
Yeah,
105.
okay, yeah.
It's not numbered, I didn't.
My list had 105, but I'll have to go back and look at it.
It's on.
Okay. Will be reviewed individually to remove the book or to put the book in the adult section or,
Whoa. The amendment on the floor is that we will consider the disposition of the books individually.
disposition, okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Charlotte, is that what the intent of your motion?
Yes.
All right. Vicky, you second it. Was
I
that the
did,
intent of your
I agree
motion?
with Charlotte.
Now, folks, keep in mind, the disposition of the book may be adult section and may be remove it. Okay.
But at least it's fair.
Yeah, it's fair, all right. It might take a year and a half, but I ain't got nothing to do for the extra year and a half. I got reelected, so. This
But I
meeting's
would-
out here once a month.
I would like to say, I think all this is out of order because we have a process for reviewing books.
And it's different than the letter from Trey Hargis'
It
office.
is, but Trey Hargett's letter did not change our board policies.
No, it was a directive from the Secretary of State's office.
No, it's not a directive, and he said that over and over again.
Well,
in
that's,
his-
that's how the letter read to me. Regardless, the amendment on the floor. Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
I'm opposed, I believe it's out of order.
All right, so that's one no vote. So now we're voting on the motion as amended. The motion as amended is the same as the amendment. Any further discussion? Lord, I hope not. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no.
I'm opposed.
One no. Motion carried. All right.
Can you reread the motion? I want to make sure of, that's in the
Disposition of
minutes
each
correct.
book individually will be reviewed
And disposition will be determined.
Disposition of each book.
That was the intent, I think, Charlotte.
Just want to make sure it's in the minutes correct.
All right. Next item on the agenda, memorandum of understanding with the cities. The law director's office is still working on those. We have kept them busy.
Excuse me, what about the letter response? Who's gonna draft that? Who's gonna?
What do you mean letter?
Come from the chairman, I would imagine.
Okay.
I mean, somebody can help you draft it, but I think it should be signed by you.
All right. The
Well,
memorandum.
I'll draft one and give it to the chairman.
Sure. That'd be fine.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
Just an action item.
Yeah.
It's just an action item.
Action item, okay, we'll do action.
Action item.
I like it.
Okay, memorandums of understanding with the cities, the law director's office is still working on that. We've kept him busy with library business over the last month or so, but he is in the process of doing that. Those of you that represent municipalities, don't be surprised if your mayor or city manager or city council reaches out to you and talks to you about that. You'll probably be getting input from several sources as we draft those agreements. Policy committee reports. We did meet as a policy committee. Those minutes have not been approved by the policy committee yet. However, to give a brief little synopsis of what we covered, I think Matthew sent out an email telling us it was time to vote on the collection policy and the internet policy. I've read them. Has everybody had an opportunity to read those? We don't have a recommendation from the policy committee, but if we want to go ahead and vote on those individually tonight, it'll be the pleasure of the committee.
What Matthew, this may make it easier, what Matthew said to me, we can go ahead and approve them as is, and then if we have amendments, we can go ahead and make amendments to them down the road without any issues.
Okay.
Okay, so we could approve them as is and get that off.
So,
Is that a motion?
I'd make a motion, if you can make it into one. I think my brain quit about 10 minutes ago.
you're not kidding. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Matthew, and if you ain't the one to answer this, that's fine. But the collection policy, does that reference the American Library Association? Yeah.
Yeah.
As does the state handbook on how to do this.
Yeah. So if y'all want to open up debate on that, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. I'll be a no vote on the collection policy. So
Well, we
if
can
y'all
always
want,
revise it later, though.
I heard you.
Okay.
I understand. I'll still be a no vote.
The-
Any further discussion?
I've asked repeatedly for the ALA information to be removed from the policy manual because we have no affiliation. The last time it came up, I don't think we had any librarians that were paying dues to that association. They have no oversight to our group. And there is no reason for us to be affiliated with any group at all. And I have asked in the past, there's some misconception that that's the only group out there. There are multiple library association groups. There's the Christian Library Association group. I had a list of them, but I think if we're gonna, we should put them all or we should put none. And I don't know why we put any because everything is on the internet. If a librarian would like to look up something about the ALA, it's available to them. It gives the impression that we're in alignment with the ALA, and I'm absolutely not in alignment with the ALA. So again, I make a motion. I was told that would be covered in the policy meeting. If that is part of the collection policy, then I make a motion the ALA information be removed from our manual.
We've got a motion on the floor
Okay.
to approve at this point. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no?
No.
So a hand vote. Those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Motion fails.
Can I ask a question, Chair?
Sure.
What does, there's 5 of you, have against the ALA?
Well, that probably should have been asked during
Well, no.
discussion.
I don't know if it's in.
The ALA policy basically is in our state handbook as to how to conduct ourselves as a
I'm
board.
asking any one of the 5.
And it talks about, I'm trying to explain to it because I don't think they've read it. The ALA has a policy that says freedom to read. That's one of the biggest things in the thing.
Mr. Mariner, I have read the policy and I do not watch ball games on my computer during
either.
meetings. Yes, sir, you do.
Hang on.
Enough.
Hang on.
That's rude.
Hang on. The crew manual, we definitely need to find a better way to do that. I don't blame the librarians for this, but if they are actually going by that, and it's taking approximately 20 minutes per book, I can understand why they were able to miss some on occasion. And I think, are y'all continually reviewing books to check out? That's what I'm saying. That,
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing.
yeah.
If the book was ordered in 2023, then depending on the size of the library, it wouldn't be up for reading. There were some books on this list that would have been up for reading the next time I go through that section, and I probably would have removed them because they didn't have circulation.
Right.
But if I move them to another section, then that means there's a change in their record and it gets more time.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. If moving it to another section is intended to see if somebody may check it out there, teach me something. Why wasn't it put in that section to begin with?
Because it's intended for a certain audience.
Okay.
If it's a crossover title, like some YA titles they read younger, but adults might enjoy a YA title. If it's the intended audience is for teenagers, we would initially put it in that section. But if I think, hey, I think adults would also like this book, we can try it in that section, then that's a longer lifespan for the book that we spent tax dollars on.
Now, is that a specification of the crew review?
Yeah, it's gone over.
Yeah. And again, I think that's something to be simplified. Parents and legal guardians who are concerned about their children's use of digital resources should provide guidance to their own children. And that, I think also somebody mentioned it earlier about the books there. I understand the idea of a child coming into the library without a parent, especially if the child is 11 or older. It's easy to say, oh, well, you know, that's not our responsibility if they go somewhere in the library and do something they're not supposed to do. I don't agree with that stance at all. Just because a child is not accompanied by their parent does not relieve of us of any liability when they're on county-owned grounds. We're still responsible and liable for what happens to them in certain situations.
So is that in the library?
Yeah, what I just quoted about the legal guardians are concerned
Oh,
about.
okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure
Yeah.
what you were.
I read some of it, so I have some of it marked, and that's why I brought it up.
Okay.
That's why, and there's more, but that's why I
Okay,
don't
no,
like.
I just need to understand.
Yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff in there too, and depending on your interpretation of it, it could be that librarian directors have full authority and library boards don't, pretty much. The library directors decide everything. Well, if that be the case, I don't know why we even have to have a library board.
Exactly.
Library boards set the policies and the procedures. That's our function, and we also control the budget, which, by the way, you do an excellent job of doing that for us. There's a lot of things in here that I have questions about that I take issue with. Vicki, during the policy committee meeting, offered a suggestion that says, let's go ahead and adopt the ALA with a caveat unless it violates TCA code. I like that caveat, but I also like the one, or it violates ACLB policy and procedures. So,
I like both of those.
again, that's
Yeah.
something we may be able to come back later on and do, but that's explaining.
And I understand your concern, Shane, I really do. I don't think it's perfect, I just don't know what else to place it with. We can't replace it with a Christian or a Jewish or something else because we're a public library, but I'm sure there are others that we might be able to find, but I like what you're saying. I just want to make sure that, I like what you're saying.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we also include the Christian Library Association's policies, because we're picking and choosing from this one, we can pick and choose from the Christian. Second,
Not everybody's complies.
If you don't mind, let's get an opinion from the law director on that first.
absolutely.
All right.
I already asked HR about this the last time that was proposed, and HR said that when they would read the policies before they're brought to be officially in the lexicon, that something that discriminated or could put the county in violation of Title VI, which religious discrimination would not be able to be put into our policies, because there is a freedom of religion.
Okay. So, Matthew, what happens now that motion failed about those policies being adopted?
The state asks that you approve those two policies, review and approve once a year. And the idea behind it is that you've got your eyes on it.
So, was June 30th the cutoff deadline on that?
Yeah.
So we've got another month? Okay. All right, that's what I needed to know.
Can we pass the internet one separately and then you only go to?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to suggest, but I think that motion, was that motion for both of them?
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah, but
thought.
I could change the motion real easy.
You can't vote on something that's gotten defeated in the same meeting
We could
without.
try.
You'll try anyway. All right. Budget committee report, pretty much already heard that from Susan. Any questions again on that?
One question. I listened to the budget committee talking, and all of the suggestions that were being made were toward cutting back current library functions or people. There was no suggestion made to go to the overall commission or the budget committee itself in the county and ask for that 1.46 percentage rate to rise up. What they did back in 2 years ago, really it was an effort by Commissioner Mays to balance off two things, to take money out of the library and balance off the ambulance services and get them money. But our responsibility is not to balance the budget for the county. Ours is to give the services that we need to the overall county from the library. And so I think we should go back and ask them to raise that when they evaluated taxes, that went down from 2.18, I believe is what it was, to 1.46, because the county's getting more money. And so it's a lower percentage to give the same $256,000 or $526,000 that the library was limited to getting, although we need $680,000. I would like to go to the budget committee and the county commission and say, we need that to go back up, but we need it to go back up to 1.75. So it will generate enough money and we will not have the $30,000 deficit, and that our reserve will not keep coming down like it's coming down now. That should be our concern as a library board, that we're underfunding our libraries.
Well, I think you sort of kind of already did that at the budget workshop.
I've already
that
said at the
we were
workshop.
at. And certainly you're more than welcome to attend the next budget committee meeting.
And I'll try.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't promise you what the answer will be, but
Well,
obviously you're.
the thing is, I got, at that workshop, I got absolutely no feedback.
Now, it was a workshop.
Right. We didn't, which I thought would be a good interplay time, and there wasn't anything said.
Well, if you'll remember correctly, which I don't think you were there from the beginning, there were
No.
several department heads that came in and asked for a similar budget increase, if not more, so.
Right.
If you're adding up in your head as you go along or have a calculator, then, you know, you start getting to the point to where.
It was more than
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And that next meeting is June 25th, is it not?
No, ma'am. Now, the next regular budget committee meeting is June 4th at 4 o'clock.
Robbie told me it's June 25th.
That's probably another workshop, I would assume. The regular monthly budget committee is, and it's kind of hard to explain it. The county commission's on the third Monday, always. So in June, that'll be the 15th. What you do is you go backward 2 Thursdays to find out when the monthly budget committee meeting is. I know that's confusing as all get out, but they want enough time between decisions made at the budget committee getting to full commission for discussion. So that's why it's messed up like that. So June 4 at 4 o'clock.
Okay. Here, right? Here.
Yes, ma'am, in this room. Anything else we want to bring up from the budget committee? Okay. Next item under new business is the law director memo. I know I sent out 2 copies of that because one of them had some pages missing. So,
Oh, it was me.
yeah, no, it wasn't you.
That's all mine, just.
If everybody had a chance to read over it, I know it was lengthy. If you will go to the page that has the law director's signature at the bottom, they have asked us to take action. They've listed 5 things, and they want us to take action on the first 3 tonight. The first one is to repeal any prior purported library board personnel policies currently in use. And if you read the memo, the reason for that is apparently this board revised or wrote personnel policies back around 2019. Those apparently were sent to the Human Resources Department. They were reviewed by the Human Resources Director at the time, Kim Jeffers. There is a note of that, but there is no record of approval by the Human Resources Department or by County Commission. The Law Director's Office has reached out to the County Commission Office and the Human Resources Office to see if maybe they've missed something, and they determined that they had not. So any personnel policies that we've been abiding by since then are not actually enforced. So the first thing that the Law Director's Office has asked that we do is have a motion to repeal any of those purported personnel policies.
I have a quick question before the motion. Does that include, it just includes the ones specific to the library board, not the ones where we have incorporated Anderson County personnel?
No.
Those got approved, so it's just the ones specific to the library board?
No, the library board as we are really don't have personnel policies.
Yeah,
Personnel policies are for the county employees.
so those were the ones that didn't get
The
appealed?
personnel policies were never approved.
Okay, that's why we needed the
Yes.
clarification.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, and since they are county employees,
yeah,
there has to be personnel. Well, let me take that back. There is a county general personnel policy, and they will fall under that until we get our personnel policies for the library system approved.
okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
So everybody understand that? All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
What is the motion?
To repeal, if you'll look on the signature page,
Right, got it.
number 1, repeal any prior purported library board personnel policy currently in use.
And that's the way you want it worded?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it's labeled in our policies as the Anderson County Library Board Personnel Policy.
Any further discussion?
Does that mean that we will revert to just county policy?
Until our new ones are revised, yes, sir.
Or if we choose not to have it?
Well, yeah, true too.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carried. The second thing they have requested is we adopt an interim policy with the additions attached to this memorandum for immediate procedural guidance. So if you'll remember the executive session, some of the items discussed, they have come up with these to try to help us with that. There is J.
Okay, formal disciplinary procedures.
And then there is K.
Open meetings,
There is L.
personnel records,
There is M.
employee notice.
And then there is N.
I didn't get M.
You didn't get M or N?
I got M, I didn't get M.
N's at the bottom of that
Oh.
page. I did the same thing on the law
I
director
told you,
email.
I was brain
I
dead.
did the same thing.
Y'all wore me out. Okay,
So these are to get us
okay.
through until further notice, if we want to adopt.
What added to this policy? Basically added to our current one. Because if you look at the letters where it started with J, our last letter in our current policy is I. So therefore, it implies to me that he was saying you go with your current policy, which where we didn't have all this discipline, all these things, procedures to follow. We only had requirements of the library directors in it.
That very well may be true, but when I called them today to confirm, they suggested for simplification that we just go by what they've included as attachments for J, K, L, M, and N until we go through a total writing of it.
I would move that we defer this until we can take a look and read it all.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was
didn't
this
have-
some of the pages that was missing in the
Absolutely.
first email?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we didn't get it until this
Okay.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, I
I
got it.
looked at that first page and that completed some of my other questions.
I got you.
But
Yeah, we get to meet again in a couple of weeks.
Okay. That's great. Okay, that's fine.
the other thing about that on K, it talks about the Open Meetings Act.
Mhm.
Now, we've had this discussion before. We can't be working as two people going off and doing something together. You can do individual with the library, but any deliberations with two people talking and going into personnel and saying, I want to look at these records. I want to get rid of these books. That's a violation of the Open Meetings Act.
And I think that was one of the issues that we have discussed before. I think the exception that HR had given us when we were doing personnel evaluations, and certainly we can confirm that.
I've heard about that, but if you'll notice on the first page of what the director says in darkened, emphasized, Tennessee does not recognize a broad
I'm sorry,
executive session
what page are you on, man?
exception for personnel matters. We don't get to have different rules.
Yep.
First page of this thing. I mean, it almost implies
Oh, you're on, okay.
that our whole get-together with the law director, since we were not talking about a particular piece of lawsuit coming against us, we were looking, most of the personnel stuff was out of order.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. If we were out of order, I think the one that would have known that and certainly directed us otherwise would have been the law director.
And that's what he's kind of doing there, is you can't.
Well, I'm talking about at the moment that we did that.
Yeah.
I think he was nice to us.
He is a very nice guy. But anyway, so hold off on number 2.
Please.
Okay. Number 3, work in coordination with the Anderson County Law Director and Anderson County Human Resources Department to develop a comprehensive library board personnel policy addressing personnel administration, performance review, disciplinary procedures, records handling, meeting procedures, and governance structure. So,
I make a
anybody-
motion to do it.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carries. And then the other ones happen after we get all of that done, submit it to the county commission, and continuing on with exercising substantial caution with respect to personnel actions involving suspension or termination until a clearly established and legally supportable policy framework has been implemented.
Mariah has a question.
Okay.
Hi. We haven't received a copy of this. None of the library directors received a copy of this. Could we get a copy of that, please?
I can send you a copy, yeah, that's no problem at all. I just sent it out to the board members because we were involved in that
Well, yeah,
executive
but
session.
The directors need copies of this as well.
Okay.
Now,
That's no problem.
mine has no vote required on number 5.
Yeah, I wrote that in because we're waiting until we get
Okay.
the first 3, I thought I said that, I'm sorry. We're waiting until we get the first 3 done and then we can submit it to full county commission for approval.
Okay.
And this will have to go to county commission for.
Yes, that was part of their issue to begin with. What they found is apparently what had been done in the past never had been. B, book review, and I think that's about the emails by library board members.
Yeah.
Charlotte, you're the one that wanted that one.
Yes. So the email list that you all send out, so that we can approve the books or say about the books or whatever. So some of them, some of them are missing. It's like you'll have a book that's on the website coming soon, but then I go back, I never found it on my list. And I called Eddie and he went back and never found, I mean, maybe you missed one or something, I don't know. But I just,
The same list that we put on the website, the same list I send you guys, I carbon copy my tech person, and she puts the same list on the website.
okay, then I had sent an email about a book that I objected to. Because I did, where will that book, where will that go?
Which book was it?
Violent Delights.
I believe.
Violent Delights.
Yeah. I believe that one's a young adult book. It would go to the young adult section, which is adult in my collection.
No, but she's asking
It's not
now
their
that she
choice.
objected to it,
Yep.
where does it go, right?
Oh, it's currently sitting on a cart in my office.
Yeah, so what is our process? Because I feel like, me and you feel like it's just everywhere.
Well, and I think that's part of what we need a better process, because, I'm not opposed to you all objecting to it. It's like, how come? And I think that's what's the issue, because I didn't know the book either, but I read a little
Gender
bit.
ideology. Gender ideology.
Yeah,
On that one.
okay.
Currently, our policy
No, that was the one
is to
I
fill out that
questioned.
form, but you did the right thing, hold that book.
Yeah.
And then we would bring it to the board and
Yeah,
discuss that
discuss
book
it.
and
Yeah,
vote
look at
whether it goes or not. And I believe it was donated, because if it's purchased, then it's supposed to be held to be purchased
Right.
too, when you object. But I believe that one was donated. So
Yeah.
she had the copy. So then she put it behind the desk, because you said hold it. But then it would come before the board if you fill out whatever the challenge form, so we have documentation. And then we do
So
it
we
right
couldn't-
now
We couldn't do it by just through my email?
until we change the policy.
You're saying they have to go over there to fill the paperwork out?
No, I'm sure she should hold it, but I'm saying before the board, I don't know whether we just have a list and it's on the agenda.
No, I
Whatever,
think-
just so there's,
For me, I need something more than just gender identity. It's like, and how does it fail that or something? Just a little bit more information. But what you're saying is kind of my idea of how that would work. But I don't think we ever had books challenged that much in the past. They're being challenged more in the last few months than they were in the past.
So let me make sure I understand.
So we
The
don't.
librarians send out an email, I'm going to purchase these 10 books, right? The reason they do that is so if library board members see one on there
Yes.
that they've got a concern,
Yes.
they can say, I got a concern on this one.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So when the library board members see that email and they say, I've got a concern on that one, the librarians say, okay,
Yes.
we're not going to put that one on the shelf yet until we go through a process in a public meeting.
Right.
Because I think what some of my concern was, is somebody said, well, why are you objecting to that?
Well,
And
yeah.
then an answer was given, well, because of this. And
Yeah,
then,
and
well,
then it
I don't
got-
agree with that.
Right.
Then we're getting into the deliberation
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
I forwarded those email threads to the law director's office, and he's like, yeah, y'all, that needs to stop. That's what an open meeting's for. So I think if you got your answer, the answer is the books are not put on the shelf until we can discuss it at the next meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the intent?
Yeah.
It is, but what was helpful to me was the information about this is what this book is and all the references and everything else. That helped me because then I could look stuff up and I could see it better and stuff. So I don't know if that's okay to do. It's just to say, well, this is why this book was chosen.
Well, you get into the, I guess, the concern. to
But it's just
Tommy's point a minute
information
ago,
at that
You get into
point.
concern when you're going back and forth.
Yeah, no, what we were doing was back and forth and that shouldn't have happened.
Right.
Yeah, I was guilty.
When the board objects to a book, it's entirely unhelpful for them to be like, no, don't put that book on the shelf without any explanation. Because I'm speaking.
I know you are. I'm raising my hand so I can go next.
It's just completely unhelpful because we put a lot of effort into our book orders, and to my understanding, the books that I requested to purchase had nothing to do with gender ideology. There wasn't anything that was LGBTQ+. It was a general romance for YA and a book on Munchausen syndrome that was a thriller for a teen book. I didn't get any constructive feedback for that. That's all I'm asking from the board is constructive feedback on why you don't want something added. Because there's 80,000 people in this county and one person saying no feels unfair.
But I guess my question then becomes what we just discussed up here. If the procedure is you're going to hold off on putting it on the shelf until we can discuss in the public meeting, why even have the procedure? I guess would be my concern to answer your question. I think if we discuss it at the next public meeting,
That also hinders our ability to order. So like the 2 books that were on my list are part of a subscription service. So I need to know a reason so I can pull it off of the subscription.
and I guess the answer would be the reason would come when we all had a chance to debate it in a public meeting.
So those books are being shipped now because we missed the
I get it.
last meeting.
I understand.
They're already scheduled to come.
I get it.
I don't have the chance to change them anymore. So now they're going to be sitting in my office until the next meeting where we can review that unless we go over them today.
I guess another option would be you don't order them until we bring them up at a meeting and we all have the list in front of us. I think you all decided a long time ago that wasn't a good way to do it.
That's what we do with our normal orders, but she's talking about JLG, it's a subscription box, so it's different. Like, they just send that every month.
All right.
Like, we don't do it.
You have to cancel it.
Then we can switch them out if we have enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I tell you all about the JLG subscription books like 3 to 4 months in advance, but by the time all of that had gone through, the June books are already being sent because it's May. So those books are going to be in my office because there was an objection to them.
I mean, I don't know any other way to do it. Hang on just yet, just hang on.
Maybe about a year ago, I questioned a book. I had no problem. You didn't ask me to give the reason immediately. I said, hold that. I went up and got the book. I read the book. The book was fine, and we had a nice conversation about it. How can I give you a reason why I want the book held until I have looked at the book? So I asked for the book to be held and not purchased until I had a chance. For 2 weeks, I've had the flu. So I haven't had a chance to come and get the book.
We don't own the book. All of the information available about that book is online.
Okay.
At the time that I requested it, it was not a donation, it was a purchase. And nothing about the book suggests that they're inappropriate for teens.
You're right. The book I questioned before had been donated.
Yeah, and when you questioned the 2 previous books that you questioned, you gave reasons why you questioned it. The first one in the email, you said, I can't find anything about this book. Can you tell me more about it? And then the second one, you said, hey, I have a question about this title. Could you tell me more about the book? For the last few emails that we've got, it's just been, I don't agree with that book. Don't purchase it. Or don't put it
I
on the
didn't
shelf.
say that. That wasn't my words. I said, hold the book, please, or something.
No.
I didn't, no.
Terry.
I disagree with this book.
Yeah.
And it's complicated for the directors when it's an order versus a donated book. Yes, a donated book, you have it, just don't put it on the shelf. But when you're spending money that then we're going to pull it off, it's different. So I think for our sakes, if we don't like the title, if we question the title, we can say, please hold this book to the group. But I think the librarian should then say, here's the details on this book, send back more details about that book that's being held, like she did. And then we know, because that person might say, oh, I have this confused with a different book.
So, a board member has a concern with a book. They say, I have a concern with this book.
Yes,
Hold it. They send a description out,
yes,
right?
yes. So there could be time to change your mind right away. Oh, that's not the book I thought. That's not what this is. That's not.
So do they still hold the book if the library board member says, I still want it held?
If they say yes, still hold it.
Or they might.
So does that address your concern, or are you still in the same boat?
Like, I just needed some feedback. Like, if we have to bring it to the board to discuss as a board as a whole, I'm fine with that because it's inside what we're already doing. But people just saying, don't put this book on the shelf, unhelpful. And it doesn't even have to be a conversation with the whole board. Like, say, I don't agree with this book, I can send you the information and then just say, I still don't agree with it. Like, that's more helpful in terms of me ordering it. Because if I have to take a book off of the order form, then I have to fill it in with another spot, like another book, because that's my budget. And then I have to inform you all that I've changed the book, and then it's 7 days before I can do that order.
I understand exactly what you're saying at that point. I'm just trying to reason that along with the fact of, as library board members, we have the authority to look at these books and say, well, we'll hold on that one until we can get further notes. So I just want to make sure we were on the same page with that.
The 2 books that I believe the issue had very similar names to books that are not.
All right, Matthew?
Just, the original intent was for, I'm not aware of any other libraries that are submitting, directors are submitting books lists ahead of ordering. The original intent was about awareness, so the board has awareness of what's in the collection, not to do the job of the library staff, to prove everything. I'm not trying to take a stance. If that's the way the board wants to do it, then okay. I know some of the original intent was, if the directors have approval from the board, then they've got kind of covered, you know. So I don't know if they still prefer that or not, but I will say I'm not aware of any other libraries that are doing it in this way.
And I believe every word you just said, But as a board member, if I am condoning or not objecting to a book that winds up on the shelf of our library, that winds up coming and being an issue later on, I've got that responsibility. So if I'm going to look at that book, or I'm going to look at that list, and I see an objection, I also have the responsibility to bring that up and at least look into it. I get what you're saying, and I think you're right. I think the original intent was to protect the librarians because they were getting so much flack. But at the same time, I'm just not going to give a blanket whatever you all want to do, which, as I said earlier, was part of the reason why I didn't like the ALA, because I still have a responsibility as a board member to oversee what goes on in our libraries. I may not have the college degrees and stuff that these fine ladies do down here, and I acknowledge that. But I still am responsible to the people of the county, as we said earlier, to make sure that I'm doing my job the best that I can. So I get what you're saying. I say you're absolutely right, but that's a two-way street. If I'm going to vote to go ahead and or not object to cover them of a book that they bought, I'm also going to take the responsibility to go, I got an issue with that one. The point that started this conversation, I think, from Charlotte, and we got way off track, and we've done that a bunch of times tonight. I've failed you as a chairman by not keeping on track, is the fact of why did we have this back and forth on the email thread, and I think we've answered that.
I wrote down, just as we were talking, that in that process, when they're listing the books and forward them to them, if there is an objection, then the person says, please hold, or what have you, then the library director can send the information to that person or to all of us. I don't know which one you want. The reason, for the review. And then the objector says, okay.
I think it'd be safer if it was between the objector and the librarian.
I'm fine with that,
I think it'd
yeah.
be safer.
And so we don't respond unless it comes back and says, and the objector then says, I still want you to hold it.
Yeah.
And then that needs to come to all of us, that will come back to the meeting for review. Does that fit?
then we can
So they
prepare
let
for
you
the
know,
meeting.
I object, please hold this book until we talk. I feel like has aggressive content or, sexual identification content or whatever. They can give you the reason so you at least know what their concerns are. And then you can send something back and say, okay, this is where it comes from, this is what you can do to review it and get back to me. I know it doesn't stop your process, but I don't know how to deal with it
I would
otherwise.
also say that even if it's a book that's intended for YA, we can put it in adult. I do that all the time. Like, if it's a concern, then that is something that I do. We evaluate the books as they come in, and if we think it's on the older side of YA, then we'll go ahead and put that in adult. So, like, if that's the case too, when we're asking for reasoning or communication instead of just getting shut down, then, like, there are other options.
Well, I think what Vicki just outlined solves the problem as far as if somebody up here objects to one of the books on the list, then they deal directly with whatever librarian it is instead of the whole group being involved. Then you can have the back and forth however you want to. Now, if the board member still says, no, Kimberly, I don't want that book on the shelf until we can discuss it at a full board meeting, then we wait until the next full board meeting to discuss it.
Yeah.
Is that how everybody understands policy work?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would clarify both concerns, and then the rest of us would just be quiet.
So,
I will say there's nothing in policy about that. The only thing that's in the policy is that we send in.
well, then why do we even have it?
It was exactly what was said earlier. It was to let us know what they are ordering, because they were getting lots of questions. They were getting questions and we were getting questions. And the entire reason for that, as Matthew outlined, was so that we would be helping out with the library directors whose responsibility it is to order the books.
And then I go back to what I said a minute ago. If I'm going to take the liability and the responsibility of looking at that list and I see one that I have a concern with, and I say nothing, then I'm not doing my job as a board member.
Well, you give, they need to give more than just I strongly object.
Well, and Tommy, I think that's what we just got through discussing, is we're having a mechanism there to where the individual board member can discuss it with the individual librarian and tell them what their concerns
And you
are.
don't have to worry about the sunshine law.
Yeah, I think Vicky's idea solves the problem.
Right, just one,
Yeah, the one that had the objection.
Yeah.
one trustee to
Yes.
one
Yeah,
librarian.
one-on-one.
Anything else about that? All right. Moving on to the director. report.
Another question.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
about the 4 books that we've been objected to in the last month?
I would repeal my objection, put them up there. That'll be fine.
None of another of mine came from you.
I don't want to bring you to tears, but put them back on the shelf, whatever, buy them. If you don't have the money, contact me and I'll find the money.
I'm sorry.
What books are you referring to?
The two that Kimberly had, and then the 2 that of mine that have been objected to. The You and Me on Repeat, and the Book of Violent Delights. I believe my phone was dead, so I can't look it up now.
The book Violent Delights.
Yeah.
The other.
Who objected to them?
Charlotte objected to one, and Tina objected to the other.
Okay.
I still would like to see the book.
Okay.
Or I have read about it and there are some connotations to looking it up says that it was LBGTQ. So I would like to look at the books.
There's not a problem with having queer material in the library. We have queer people in the community who want that material. Yes.
I think, and I'm not trying to put words in Tina's mouth, but I think the proper procedure to follow here is she's objected to the book, right? According to what we just discussed, she can communicate with you
I've
over
already
that
given
book.
the reviews
right?
back on that.
Okay, and then if she still isn't satisfied with the answer that you've given, we can bring it up at the next meeting and then
Put it on the agenda.
put it on the agenda and everybody can look at it. Until then, they're held.
Well, she hasn't purchased
I haven't
Okay.
purchased, that one I haven't purchased. It's on order that I'm supposed to put out today.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, Shane.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I think part of this issue, at least for me, is that there isn't a thing. It seems like, and it may just be my interpretation, it seems like almost everything that's objected to is because they think it's LGBTQ or it is LGBTQ. And currently, there is absolutely no policy or reasoning or legal justification for all LGBTQ books to be removed from the, to be not there. That's not legitimate. If it's gonna be shown in a section and you think it's too much, but just the fact that there are LGBTQ characters in the book, I don't see how that can be a basis for an objection. Other things, absolutely, if it's in the wrong section, if it's in, but just saying.
Well, I think objecting to it before anything at all
Yeah.
is done with it, then opens the door for discussion on that, so it doesn't wind up in the wrong section, and we gotta add another book to the list that we're sending in,
Yeah,
so.
and we've sent in these for 2 years, we have no issue with that whatsoever.
Okay.
But just this random, no, and it really does seem like.
I think we beat that horse about to death here
Okay.
so far tonight. The objection, if it's made by a board member, they notify the librarian, I got a concern with this book, hold this book. A conversation occurs, email, telephone, carrier pigeon, whatever the choice is, to discuss it between the board member and the librarian. If the library board member still doesn't agree with the book going out on the shelf, we put it on the agenda, we bring it up the next meeting, and we discuss it.
So my first question was, where is this going to go?
That one is,
And it was for 14, 18, which is still under children.
it would go in RYA section, which is an adult section at Clinton. It's the book, the one that you objected to is 2 high school seniors.
Yeah, but
So-
she has a dream, or she wants to kiss her person.
It's a first kiss, which
Right,
is
but-
perfectly acceptable for a high school senior to have.
Okay.
Well, I understand
Whether
that.
they're queer or straight.
Now we're getting off on a conversation that I don't know why we have procedures. Let's stick with the procedure that we just talked about.
Do you want me to
Let's do
write
that.
it up and send it to everybody?
That'd be great.
Just type it up
That'd be
and
great.
send it?
Thank you. That would be great. Let's
Okay,
do
it won't
that.
be in any format, but it'll
That's
get to everybody.
That's fine. That's great. Okay. Moving on to director's reports. Bryson.
I have to.
Right.
How about I do the highlights? This really cool. I think you see the picture. You know, our country, the birthday, and I was looking at this and stuff, and it came across this when it was 200 years old. So this is at the library if anybody wants to come and look at it. It's pretty awesome.
It is.
And we have white gloves for you to wear if anybody wants to. Yeah, that was a pretty cool find for me. And the maintenance things, the parking spot's been taken care of, and all the trainings. If you have any questions, come in.
Thank you. Clinton.
Yeah. I gave you guys all copies of our summer reading brochures, so be sure to look at that. We've got some great new programs starting. We're doing a new outreach program to the towers for Read Aloud Book Club, and really increased our homebound outreach over the last month. We had a sign-up event last month, and we literally quadrupled our patron base over there. I've got a person who resigned, so we're doing some reshuffling position-wise, and we're going to be hiring a new substitute. I have our last interview tomorrow, actually. They won't be starting till July, but we're going to get them hired ahead of time. We've got our LSTA grant stuff arrived. Let's see. The rest of it, and everything else is on my report.
Okay.
Yep.
Norse.
The only 2 things, summer reading registration started May 18th. We're trying to hit over 247 people. We've got over 100 so far, so if you know anybody in the area, please come sign up. We've got kickoff on June 1st, and we're doing an excavation program for the kids where they can excavate rocks and gems and then identify them. And then the Friends Group just got a grant from the Norris Area Community Foundation, and they are using it to help us purchase Library of Things materials. So we're going to have things like a drill that you can check out, a laser level you can check out, some STEAM kits, some wonder books, some outdoor games that families can check out and take with them, different items.
Was that foundation grant, was that 6,000?
It was 3,500, 3,500. And then the friends match a certain percentage, so I think it ends up being like 38.50.
Thank you. Rocky Top.
Hello. I didn't bring it with me, so highlights.
Okay.
We're kicking off summer reading tomorrow from 4 to 6. We would love to have any and all of you please come to the library. We are doing excavation, we're digging for dinosaur bones, we are doing screen printing, free screen printing of our logo. We are having Kona Ice free for the first 30 signups. We already have like 50 people signed up, which is a record for me, so I'm kind of psyched. So our kickoff is tomorrow. We started signups on the 15th. Let me see. We made a donation of my donated books. We sent 2 boxes to the jail last week, yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we sure did. Kanita Gentry, I worked with her, and Kanita comes and gets books for me and then takes them. Yeah, I do it fairly often, usually 3 or 4 times a year.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's so important. Like, we would love to get into the jail more, so talk to me later. Like,
Okay.
we would love to. I've reached out several times and been like, can we come with Chromebooks? Can we do whatever you want? So reach out. But yeah, we donated those books. Like I said, kickoff is tomorrow. Oh, we got water back. I don't know if that was in the last board meeting, but I got my water back in Rocky Top to my garden. Everyone be joyous and celebrate, and I haven't had to use it. I've used it like twice because it started raining.
Tell them how the garden's going.
The garden is fantastic. The garden, thank the Lord for the rain, because I needed it. But the garden's going great. We have 12 tomato plants, 8 cucumber plants. We have sweet yellow banana peppers, green bell peppers, 1 giant jalapeno, 3 different lettuces, green onions, basil, cilantro that died already, but we're going to try again.
No.
And we're getting dill, and we have completely revamped the front. Like we redid the front, and we have 5 whiskey barrels that have pollinators in them. That actually, the master gardeners, that Seth is pretty happy with us because we had community members do the planting, and another community member, I was donated 2 grain barrels, and they're not practical for the back, but they're wonderful for the front. But I had a patron who helps us out a lot. He took them and put spigots in them and cut the tops off and built a base underneath, and we're going to paint them, cover them with flowers, and they go out front so we can use the rainwater to water our pollinators in the front and not even have to fool with it. And so all community members like donated most of that, and Seth, the UT guy, he donated the whiskey barrels for the front, the new ones, and he donated, I was short 11 cages for my tomatoes and peppers. I had like 20, but I was short a little. And he donated those too, and that's really encouraging. Like, he's really happy with the system. So we're about to start. If you want green onions and lettuce, come now, because I got both of those ready to go. But everything else is growing. But I would love to have you for kickoff. And we're doing all sorts of fun stuff this summer. Like, I mean, we are booked to the gills this summer. We have Main Street Baptist Church doing a special craft. They come anyway, but they're doing a special craft for summer reading. Our Painting with Marcy program, they're using 16 by 20 canvases because we're going big for dinosaur time. Right, so everybody's doing special stuff. Our cookbook club is carnivores versus herbivores. So everybody either brings a meat or a veggie, and then we'll vote at the end and say whether we're a carnivore or an herbivore library, right?
Why don't you just have a salad and some steak here for the day?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Come have salad and steak, bring it right on. I have a grill, we'll be grilling.
One thing I noticed with all of you, you've got new people signing up.
Yes.
And lots of growth, lots and lots of growth.
Made a bunch.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, the girls went to the summer reading, to prevent the summer reading slide with the Anderson County Schools. You guys went to.
I went, yeah.
And they took all the stuff and they signed people up for summer reading, and that was really exciting. And so they reached a whole bunch of people at that event.
We saw like 75 people.
Yeah, it was really, really great. And I was a little smidge concerned. I was like, all those people you signed up, where do they live? Right, because I was afraid that people sign up, but they actually live in Rocky Top, so I'm super excited. And they've been in, yeah, and they've already been in doing stuff, so it's exciting.
Can we take our meetings back to the library for the summer?
Tommy wants to get some vegetables.
Yeah. I'd like everybody to see what their programs are so they can show off to us a little bit.
You should, we were decorating our program room today. It's so cool.
Yeah, we're the same. They've decorated my whole library. You guys have got to see it. It's really cool.
They were making paper mache, like 3-foot wide paper mache pterosaurs when I left.
Yeah,
this
we got
afternoon.
pterodactyls. They're flying
Yes.
through our library because that's what we did. Sorry, we're done.
We can add that, for next agenda.
Okay.
Regional.
I sent out my report to everybody, and one of my highlights was the Tennessee Library Association Conference, and Kimberly and Mariah and Kelsey all had an excellent session presentations, which I attended, and I appreciated that. That's all I wanted to highlight.
They'll also be officers next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Yes.
I will officially be taking the vice president seat for the Tennessee Library Association next month. You're taking over my old position.
I was taking over her old position, and then she's
Next meeting will be Thursday, June 11, 5:30 in this room. Any other announcements?
Are you going to send out times that we can start this process of book review?
So I would assume the next meeting.
We'll try to get it then.
Yeah. Yeah. Any further business?
I will send a draft letter for you and info to other folks so they just see what we're.
Okay. Any further business? We are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Every time I about fell asleep,
We do, we really do.
To consider resolution 25.
Yes.
And we were thrilled.
Regulating development within the jurisdiction of Anderson County, Tennessee to minimize danger to life and property due to flooding and to maintain eligibility for participation in the National Flood Insurance Program. Do I have anyone here who would like to speak for or against that? Or anyone who has any information on it other than what was in our packet? Going once, going twice. Okay, we will move on then. The next, we have a presentation to the by Dr. Smallridge. You can do it. For the 2026 Oak Ridge High School Scholarship.
I don't see the young man from Oak Ridge High School who's receiving the scholarship. I don't see him out there, so I'll just share a little bit of information. His name is Jesse Isbell, and just by way of a little background information, this program was established and began contributing personal funds to a scholarship. The commission contributed personal funds to a scholarship program in 1996. That's when it got started. The program is set up to provide a scholarship annually to a student at each of the 3 high schools in Anderson County. And as I mentioned, this particular scholarship is